Okay, so Joe, why did you choose to interview me?
I mean, so obvious.
So obvious.
So obvious. You were the first person that popped into my head, actually, because, I mean, you're one of the people that I'm closest to in the company. I feel like we've lived inside of that organism. We've also had these like moments outside of it where we've traveled and performed and just like built a rapport over the years. And
Look at your hair.
I know. And you know that this has been in my kitchen for probably 10 years.
This is like the first photo maybe that, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably our first photo together.
For sure. We just look so cute and happy.
Gnocchis, two little gnocchis,
Two
very
little-
unaware of what's to come.
What is to come? Weathering the sauce to come. What is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on stage?
Okay, this also includes you because you were on stage with me when this happened.
I feel like I know what you're about to say.
You definitely do. There was this ballet, Troy Schumacher choreographed this ballet called Common Ground, and there was all these strings on our costumes, and my strings in the show got tied together, like knotted fully. And there was all these thrashing arms,
Yes.
and I couldn't do the steps. Like
No.
I could not. It was like only going to here.
You had T-Rex
I
arms.
had T-Rex arms, and I looked at you, and I was like, oh my God, like what am I supposed to do?
But also the funny part was we had like choreographically, like you would do a solo or I would do a solo, and then we would all like stand and look at each other. So we
And I
were
was
just
like-
looking at you, like trying to like move your arms.
I remember it was also so puffy. Like we got so tired. And I remember going off stage and Tess Reichland was like, boom, so fast. She didn't even question it. She just cut those strings so fast.
I also remember it being so tiring because I was laughing so hard
Yeah. Oh yeah.
at your situation.
I'm like, this isn't the time to laugh. We have no energy. But like I wasn't laughing as much
my
as
God.
Russell Jansen was laughing.
I
at
couldn't
me.
even look at Russell.
That was a really fun group of people
It's very
that
like
we had.
communal.
Yeah.
Felt- yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely probably the funniest thing that's
Oh,
happened.
that was the funniest thing I've ever seen happen on
Okay,
stage.
yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I feel like there's been so many funny things that happen with other people.
Yeah.
But to me, that's like the most direct thing that I could think of.
Yeah. I can't really. I'm like trying to think of
I feel like funny things don't happen to you. I feel like you're pretty
embarrassing things have happened.
I don't know. I feel like I never see them.
I'm searching. I'm like, there must be something that.
I'm always falling. Like I'm a disaster.
I mean, one time I fell on my face when I like invited a guy who I wanted to date. That was just embarrassing.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
But like we've all fallen.
but you know, par for the course.
Okay, this is a good question for you because I feel like you've done so many dream roles already. But what's your dream role to dance?
You know, I was like thinking about that because I do feel really lucky that I've like gotten to do a lot
Yeah.
of what I have wanted. But I was like, you know what I haven't done yet is Prodigal Son.
Oh.
And
Oh.
I was thinking like, I feel like some of my best work actually comes from like when I'm kind of in a character, like,
Yes.
which we've talked about.
I agree.
Acting, like we both like to
Yes.
tell a story,
That's
whether
a
it's
good
like-
one.
right?
That's really good.
And I kind of feel like I identify with it like in a lot of ways in my life, like this like journey of arrogance and kind of forsaking everyone, having to come home and, you know, like being humbled,
Yeah.
being reaccepted by your father, community. And yeah, it's like, it's very moving. And every time I watch it, it always makes me cry. Like I always feel
Something.
something.
It resonates with you.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, it's so hard. I have gotten to do some of my dream roles. I'm very lucky. But as you said, I think I love to be an actress on stage more than anything. So I feel like Juliet for me would definitely be like top of the list.
And I see it.
Because I feel like I just want to always embody, even if there's no story in a ballet I'm doing, like I will always find my own little story.
For sure.
And that story is just so amazing
epic.
and beautiful.
Yeah.
But so that is definitely probably my top. But also like the Pink Girl in Dances at a Gathering. Best pas de deux.
Which
of
has
all
kind of like a story. Like there are like so many.
It's an
yeah,
unspoken story, but
Yeah.
there is one. I
Yeah.
think that there is.
Totally.
So those two.
I love that. And you totally have the hair for Juliet.
I just want to be Juliet.
manifest.
Who doesn't though? You know.
How do you make an iconic role your own? And do you have any significant memories of originating a ballet or a role or process?
I think that making an iconic role your own is so hard, but I also think it's one of the best experiences when you do feel like you've gotten to that place where you're stepping into an iconic role. I mean, I think that I always do a lot of, like, I bun head out. I do a lot of research, and I try to find I go way back.
Oh, yeah.
Into those videos and try
Hit
to
up
watch
that library.
Yeah, I try to see everybody do the role and like the greats in the role.
Totally.
Because I had a ballet teacher, Marcia Del Weary at CPYB, and she told me that the best thing about ballet is you can steal from someone else and they still have it. Which is so true. Because
I love that.
Yes. You can steal from someone else and they will always have it, but then you can take some of it too.
Yeah.
So I like to get all the different versions and steal a little bit here and there, but then ultimately also make sure that it is my own version.
Also, I think in that, I love what you said, and I even remember a See the Music where maybe it was Lytton was showing how, I think it was Debussy had stolen a phrase from Chopin, and that was actually and how all artists it's like the highest form of flattery, right?
Yeah.
Is to but then you take it and you make it your own, and even if you saw a tape of Gelsey Kirkland doing the Pink Girl, for example, in dances, or
she's a big one
yeah, I knew it. I mean, that's why I said that's why I said it. But it's gonna look different on you. Even if you take that thing and you put it on yourself, it's
I think especially with the novice in the cage, this was such a hard thing to find your own version. I feel like now I've really found my own way of doing it, because it's also you look at a tape of Wendy Whalen in that, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's just so her, and that's amazing.
Right.
But then sometimes I'd be in the studio and I would try to mimic her and do it exactly like that.
Yeah.
And our rep director, John Pierre Froelich, would be like, oh no, but that doesn't, that's not, maybe that's not your choice. And then you play around, you try to figure it out. And I think that's that's such a special thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't be someone else.
No, you can't be somebody else. And
what about originating a role? Because you just had a big one this season.
Yeah, I mean, Solitude.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah. I mean, I think I've been lucky to originate a few ballets with Alexei, but that one particularly felt it was
so special.
Yeah, very special and just very resonant in its themes. But I kind of felt this season, particularly, that I just wanted to go out and be as raw and kind of as instinctual and not overthink it. And because there was this character, right, of this grieving person, father, but there are so many layers in that of well, your own grief, your own my own history of loss and experiences in that. And so I just wanted to dance it from a place of almost raw instinct. And I think Alexei really gave so much imagery and was so specific in that. But I think what's so wonderful about him as choreographer is then he kind of gives you all that food. Yes. And then he lets you digest it. He lets you take it. And
he's just so inspiring in that way. He just gives you so much information and knowledge and stuff. But I feel even watching you do it this season from when it premiered, I feel you've even found a deeper level of it now, revisiting it. I see new things every time I see you do it, which is very cool.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny, he said that too. He was
really?
He was it's really deepened and it's really different.
It is different.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's super cool. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Is to keep evolving. And
yeah.
What's the most important thing you've learned about partnering?
I love this question because this is the most important thing I've learned about partnering is to do less and let the guy do it.
Yes.
I mean, it's so funny.
But it's so hard.
It's so hard.
Trust.
Well, because you get into the company and you're I am this strong little technician and you're just so used to being a student, like doing everything
Well, let's be honest,
yourself.
boys don't know what they're doing and partnering at that point.
Right.
Like, we're all still learning.
Natural instinct for the girl is to do it herself and like make
Yes.
it work.
Yeah.
But I have just been so fortunate, especially the past couple of years, to dance with like the best of the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Partners. Like
Yeah.
Tyler Angle, I got to do pictures with him and he was like, just stop, you're
Just-
doing so
yeah,
much.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
stop.
yeah.
Like, just go on this ride.
Yes.
And the second that you do that, I mean, of course, you have to hold your body
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
be put together, but I think especially when something's going wrong, like in a show, if something's going wrong, let the guy
Fix it.
fix it. Do less.
Yes.
I'm still,
Yes.
it's like the number one thing, but you know
It's like the thing that I constantly come up, like, I'm fortunate enough to be at a place, I think, in my career where I feel confident as a partner. I'm very lucky that I'm kind of one of Megan Fairchild's last partners on
Yeah.
stage. And she, you know, really was like, when we first started partnering together, I was like, wow, you really just do it all yourself.
She's
like,
so strong.
she's
I'm
so
not that strong.
No, but I think it's been a really interesting journey in terms of her being like, oh, I can like let go, like in this last chapter,
Yeah.
and like really just trust that I'm in good hands.
Yeah.
And it's a two-way street. It's like you both have to just
Well, it's like
be
you
able to-
can learn so much from each other
Yeah.
and pass down. Then you'll get to pass down that knowledge to the next person that's maybe younger
Yeah.
and not understanding as much. But
Totally.
I recently asked this question to someone, like, do you prefer to be on stage alone or do you like to be
Yes.
in a padada? Like a solo or a padada
Padada.
person?
Yeah.
I am 100% a padada person.
oh,
Like,
cool.
always want to be with
Somebody.
someone.
Yeah.
Like I never get really nervous for padada stuff. I get
Interesting.
really nervous when I'm out there
Really?
by myself.
You never look nervous to me. That's so
I'm not really nervous when
Yeah.
I go out there.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on stage, I'm not
You're
feeling
fine.
anxiety normally
yeah.
or nerves. It's like leading up, like I just find so much more enjoyment in roles where it's a padada.
Mm.
I feel like at home there.
I think it depends on the ballet. It depends on the solo. It depends like
Yeah.
on the person for me and the relationship. Like,
That's true.
you know, a lot
Yeah.
like partnering for me, I think is so dependent on, the relationship I have with the person actually, like
Yeah.
psychologically, like
Yeah.
not even like dancer, like just like how we can communicate, like how our bodies respond to each other,
Yeah.
our rapport. So
Also, there's just that feeling of like, if you're on stage and you're with a person and you just do this beautiful padada or something, you can go and you go off together and you're like, that was so fun.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
There is something about when two bodies become one that feels really powerful.
Yeah. I guess that's like maybe one of our favorite on stage moments together.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of started when we were really young in Vienna waltzes.
Yes,
and
you were my first partner in the last waltz
Yes.
in Vienna.
which is like the ultimate, just regal, beautiful.
That's just a
Chill.
moment where you're like, this is the best job. I remember we were in the wings
Yeah.
and we're all setting up to go
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And I was with you and we were like, our job is the best thing in the world. Like,
Yeah.
who gets to do this?
Right. And how lucky that we're like, look like $1 million and get
Everyone's
paid to like waltz around.
gorgeous
Yeah.
and just like, it's
so
the
fun.
best.
And that's when we started saying gnocchi 1,
Yeah.
gnocchi 2. When,
We would go gnocchi 1, gnocchi
where
2.
did gnocchi come from?
I want to say the original gnocchi came from Neapolitan in Swan Lake, like gnocchi.
Yeah, you guys would all run on
gnocchi.
and we went like,
But then it's somehow just really stuck, and now that's just what we call each other.
yes, yeah. Oh my God, that's so
It's like
funny.
one of those things.
It's like so automatic. I was like, where did it even start?
And then it was in Vienna, and
Yes.
then in Firebird, we would do gnocchi 2
2 and 3. Oh my God, in Monsters.
in Monsters.
We
And
put
now
gnocchi,
it's just,
we were
gnocchi,
insufferable. We
it,
just
it can apply. Everyone probably is so annoyed by
Everybody's
that,
so annoyed,
but
yeah.
it brings me a lot of happiness.
But then it was so cool to go from like that place of kind of starting out together and like being in the core. And then recently we got to do Hallelujah Junction together,
Yeah.
which is one of the like hardest patadas I've ever done on stage.
So
And-
tricky, so deceivingly tricky.
but like the place you have to get to do it is so zen. And is that place, like I remember it really was, because you had done it before, so you were kind of, which I think is interesting about partnering. It's like when you've done a role, you kind of guide the person that maybe hasn't like through
Right.
it. And so
That's true.
you were kind of like really being like, telling me the grips and certain things. But then there was this moment where I remember being like, you need to trust me here.
Right,
or
which
like,
is the thing.
yeah,
Like, let
go.
you do it.
Yeah. Which you did.
Yeah.
You know, and we got there.
We really, those shows were so fun because I feel like we really got to this place. We were so nervous. Both of us were so nervous because that ballet is really hard.
It's really
And we were like, I'm unsure about, our rehearsal wasn't great.
Yeah.
So we were a little unsure,
Yeah.
very nervous. And I remember feeling so zen in the pas de deux.
So
Like, it
zen.
was just
Also,
so
I think
comfy.
we were being really hard on ourselves because I remember someone being like, the rehearsal was great. And
we were like, it was horrible.
horrible. Like, but then I just remember that music starting, like once I got you on that shoulder, and just
it was,
like,
yeah.
and that music, that like piano, and I was just like, it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, holy,
Yeah.
like I'm doing.
We forgot
this.
the audience was
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I felt like I did. And that was that moment where we came off and we were like, oh my gosh, that
yeah,
was so fun.
yeah.
Okay, do you have a pre-show ritual?
Like
I definitely have one.
sort of, I guess, eating 3 Altoids.
Why 3?
I don't know.
It's just a thing.
It's just a
It's
thing.
a superstition.
It's like, yeah, like.
But what if you had 2? Like, it's just you wouldn't have 2. You would only have 3.
I just like 3.
Okay.
It's a triangle.
Yeah. It's your number. You need 3
I need
Altoids.
3 Altoids.
I mean, I guess
Like,
that's super common. I feel like everyone has an Altoid before. I almost always do. I definitely have this thing that before every show, I run around the stage in a circle and like do run, soda shot, run, soda shot, like all
Before
around.
everything?
Before everything. Like even if I don't have a single jump in the choreography, I will be running around doing that around the stage.
God.
And recently,
Of course.
Alexei was like, I see you do this every time. And I'm like, it's just a thing. Like, I get really nervous. When I didn't do it one show, I fell.
So I had like a thing like that happen to me where I had this sweater. Do you remember that sweater that was like kind of looked like Navajo-y
Yes.
that I had forever?
Yes.
I always had to have it before I warm up. And one time I was doing a show of piano concerto, Tchaikovsky piano concerto, and I forgot that it was there. And you know, the guy doesn't come on for like
A while.
15 minutes.
Yeah, he has a second.
I was like, my sweater's not down here. And I like ran up to my dressing room to get it because I was like so superstitious that if it wasn't there. And then I went on stage and my shoe broke. So it kind of like dispelled the like,
'cause-
it was like, no, it actually doesn't
Matter, because
matter.
you still had the sweater and something bad happened.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool in
Yeah.
that way.
No, my pre-show ritual, I got to do those soda shots around because I just don't think that if I get that out of the way, then whatever jump I'm gonna do, it's not gonna feel like a jolting
deal.
thing.
Yeah.
So I've just like already done it. I've touched the stage. I've
Flown.
Yeah, I've flown around, and now I'm ready to go.
Do you have any hobbies or interests outside of ballet?
I feel like something that would surprise people about me is that I'm obsessed with Formula One racing.
Really?
Yeah, like I can't. I'm obsessed. I record them. Like if the race is at like 1 a.m. our time, if I don't stay up, because sometimes I will, I will
How did I
record the
never know this
race.
about you?
Because it's like somewhat new,
Okay.
but like full blown obsession. Like I follow all of the drivers on Instagram, on their social media. I watch all the races. I watch the qualifying. I watch the practice. And
You're committed.
no, like I'm
You're a stan.
totally obsessed. I want to go to as many races as possible in the future.
Okay. Noted.
It's so cool to me because there's only 20 drivers. So imagine like there's a ballet company, or
Yeah.
we're all dancers, we're all professional ballet dancers, but there's only 20 professional contracts. Like that's elite.
It's like there's only
also
like
an-
in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people wouldn't know that about me or think that I would
Yeah.
be super into that.
I guess I like don't think of it as you have to be very skilled, but I guess to
Oh.
drive it.
We could not
No.
get in one of those vehicles.
Well,
I'm
I just
telling
got my
you.
license,
Yes, you
so
did.
definitely
Definitely
I
could
can't.
not.
I cannot.
No, so that is a huge interest hobby of mine. Like I actually recharge by watching those
People
races.
rep up.
Yeah, like I can really hone in on that, and it
I
like
love that.
yeah brings
So
me joy.
funny.
What about you? feel like I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm gonna say because it's walking around telling everybody their astrology. I guess witchy things, astrology, tarot.
You love to read everyone's tarot cards.
I love to read everyone's tarot cards.
I love when you read my tarot cards.
I mean, I felt like it was
I feel like I learned some things about myself that I didn't know.
I don't know. It's funny. It's like a thing that I didn't expect would kind of come into my life. And then I just sort of gravitated towards it. And I think partially it's like to divine meaning in what can feel like a meaningless world or whatever. But I find the ritual of it to be the most grounding thing. Like, and I don't really treat it as like something where I'm like, oh, I can like tell the future, or I'm like in touch with like God or da 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 da. But it's kind of just like a practice, like that I find is really grounding, and it helps me to learn. And I like feel like I see, like the things I learn about the tarot, like the different archetypes. Like I start to like find them in the world. Yeah, it becomes more clear to you. Yeah, like the awareness builds. I don't know. So yeah, I guess. Yeah, not everybody knows that about you, though. No. Well, I feel like people react really weirdly to. It's like they're either like into it or they're like, oh, I'm totally into it. I was like, please read my cards. Remember that party? We had that party in Saratoga where I was like camped out and just reading people's cards. Yeah, I was not at that party, but I also used to read everyone's horoscope on the bus back from DC. Oh, really? Like, and we would all be back on the bus, and I would be like, all right, raise your hand if you're a Scorpio, raise your hand if you're a Libra, and I would read people's horoscopes just for fun. This ties into the question of like, what's your astrological sign? Which I am a Scorpio. You're a Scorpio. You're a Scorpio rising too. I'm like a double Scorpio. I love Scorpio women. I know. I mean, Scorpio men. Oh. There's every sign, you're a Cancer. I'm a Cancer. Which just I'm a caring Cancer. You're a Cancer. But I feel like people don't get that from me a lot. Like when I told Gonzalo Garcia I was a Cancer, and he was like, did he think you were an Aries? Well, I told him I'm a Leo rising, and he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. I think we all have all signs in us in some way. We do. So, You have the whole constellation in your chart. Oh, okay. What is your favorite dance sequence in a film? I love this question. Oh my gosh. Well, when I had an interest in dance, my parents got me a lot of different like dance films and things. And a lot of my favorites come from musical theater. Yes. And I feel like it's kind of a tie between, I'm kind of obsessed with, there's the Dream Ballet in Oklahoma. Okay, stop. Wait, this is what my answer. Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's so good. The whole movie. Every dance scene is like. Agnes DeMille really, she knocked it. Yeah. Kansas City, when they're in the train station and they're tapping. I forgot. Also, when they're all in the house getting ready, and there's like this girl doing Tandaquise. Yes, she's Tandaquise. She can Tandaquise. But I remember being like a little kid and falling in love with ballet specifically from that movie. Yes, actually. Me too. And specifically that scene with the Tandaquise. Yeah, like that was ballet. Yeah. And then there was the Dream Ballet. The one scene that like sticks in my mind is Vera Ellen in White Christmas. In the yellow? Yeah. Like when I saw that, I kind of lost my marbles. I watch it every year. Me too. I also make other people watch it. Oh, if you haven't seen it, I'm like, get with the program. You gotta see Vera. Sit down. Yeah. It is so good. Yeah. Also, though, I have another one. Also Agnes DeMille, but Brigadoon. Have you ever seen? No, I've never seen. Okay, Brigadoon. Well, you need to see Brigadoon. Maybe we do a screening. We need to have a viewing. Yeah. And it's Sid Charisse, and she's just like. There's this pas de deux. Yeah. And it's just, she's doing like arabesque over rocks. Like, I don't know. She was just like the epitome of this classy, beautiful woman. And there's just this beautiful, it's so, but also so like amazing. The stuff they were doing was so insane. Like when and they just like did it. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's so inspiring when I watch those films. I'm like, they probably shot that like 30 times, like, in a row. And the calves would have been clenched. She was doing piqué. She was like arabesque turning on rocks. Like, yeah, that's what I like. And she had such a high demi point. Like, I can still envision it. Like, her demi point was so high, and she was just in this beautiful dress. I mean, also that other number with Vera Ellen where she does the tap. That's like impossible. Impossible. It's like. Like,
It's
I
so
don't even,
cool.
It's crazy.
I definitely fell in love with ballet dance through musicals, like watching musicals.
Yeah.
And I feel like that I'm so grateful to my parents for that because I don't think that I would have been so in love with dancing and just music and art in general had I
Totally.
not been grown up like with watching all those old movies.
Well, it kind of shows you too how it all like fits in to get like how they're all kind of part of the same family. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, you know.
And I still like feel like that is part of the dancer I am today is that sort of era.
Yeah.
I feel like I bring into
Yeah, totally.
my dancing
The red
on
shoes.
the daily.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like I just
yeah.
feel like I
The
was almost
charisma.
supposed to be in that time.
That
Like I'm in
time.
the wrong time or
Ooh.
something.
If you could have dinner with one historical figure, who would it be?
I mean, I think that my answer just has to be Audrey Hepburn because I just want to be her really bad. Like I really do. But also I feel like she had such an amazing life. Like she survived World War II in Holland as a child.
And she started out as a ballet
And
dancer.
then she was a
Right?
ballerina.
Yeah.
And basically then became this, actress
Yeah.
and this fashion icon. And she was just like the epitome of glamour and grace and just everything that I don't know. I just wanted to be her. But then after, she also, was like a humanitarian.
Yes, I was gonna say like she
And
was like, such a good person.
Such a good person.
Yeah.
She was so, people like she just had this inner strength, I feel. Maybe because of what she went through as a child
Yeah.
and growing up and just having this grace and dignity towards everything she did.
She also was just like kind of wacky and like a very
Yeah,
like
she
cool.
was-
Like she like had like a pet fawn.
Okay, wait, I did not know that.
You didn't know that? She had like a baby deer.
Well, she
that,
lived in
like-
a beautiful, but she's so cool. I want to meet her.
Yeah. Can someone invent a time machine? It's like hard for me with this question because there's like so many people that
Well, I mean, it's an
like
impossible question.
it's impossible.
But I just feel I've felt that way for a long time. Or maybe like for a living person, I would really love to sit down with Stanley Tucci and talk about food and life. I think he's so cool.
Italy.
Like he's just so cool.
Yeah, he is cool. He's really cool.
So if Stanley's out there watching this somehow.
Like Stanley, can you hear me?
I read his book too. His book is amazing.
Do you watch his show?
Yeah. And a great book.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's like very also like classy, like Audrey Hepburn. Kind
So
of
yeah, like a timeless class act.
Yeah, class act.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to think. I like weirdly like Josephine Baker is kind of like coming
Oh.
to mind. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like she had such an interesting life. Like, kind of a rebel, like someone who like left, like also as a dancer, also as someone who like branched out into film and acting and like, I don't know, like ended up becoming a spy at one point for like the resistance. Did you know that?
No, that's very cool though.
She was like a spy who worked for the French resistance in
That's
Nazi
super
occupied.
cool.
Yeah, and like just was kind of a badass.
There's so
There's so many people.
But
Also, like I'm
it's
like
just one.
Mozart. Like
Yeah.
How-
he would be a cool dude. I went to Austria and
you went to his house.
yes, went to his house.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I know. He like kind of came from not a lot.
And it's just like I saw the piano that he played on. Probably it was just fascinating. He's fascinating.
Have you watched Amadeus?
Yes. Incredible.
Love that movie.
That's a comfort. That's a great
Yes, me
movie.
too.
Everyone's got to watch that.
That's
Oklahoma is also a comfort movie for me. But
I feel like Chocolat is a comfort movie for
oh,
me. Do you like that
I watched
movie?
that in school.
Oh.
They like in my French class that I don't remember anyone from, but
Chocolat?
I remember watching that movie. Indiana Woodward actually helped me in my French class later on.
Oh,
I was
that-
like, I need help.
That tracks.
So she speaks one.
Yeah. If you had a motto or a credo, words to live by, what would they be?
What's that quote? It's like, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde. I feel like more and more I've been trying to remind myself of that. Because I think in our industry, in our world in particular, it's really easy to look around and see what everyone else is doing, or this person turns better than I do, or
Yeah.
this person has
Compared despair.
this compared to despair. And it's so, I found myself really getting into that. And like, everyone else is already taken.
Yeah.
And I need to be myself. So I guess right now I've been kind of in that,
Yeah.
really, really trying to live by that motto, even though it's really hard.
It's really hard, but very freeing once you
Yeah.
kind of like integrate it. And yeah, I guess for me, like, I go back weirdly. Like, this teacher I had when we read Hamlet in high school there was this quote that just always stuck with me that I think Hamlet says at the end of the play, which is if I don't botch it, there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, which is kind of like, I don't know, there's something out there. Like, I don't know if it's God or what, but there's something that's shaping this, and it's sort of up to us.
Higher power.
Yeah, like what our attitude is, I think, about it. And like, it's really up to us, like what we make of it.
Yeah.
And I always just thought that that was deep and empowering. And it kind of feels like more and more like, as I grow older and like hopefully wiser, that
It's the hope.
yeah, like that I kind of understand that more, where I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't have control over everything.
No.
There is, and all I have is my own self, right?
Yeah.
And my own outlook. And
My great-grandmother also always said this thing. She always said, we got to go up the downs. We're going up the downs. She would always say that. And that, I feel like as I've gotten older, is also something that's really
Go
stuck.
up
Go
the
up the
down.
downs.
Go
Like,
up the
even when
downs.
stuff's going down,
Yeah.
we're going up the downs. Isn't that so?
it's all cycle.
Yeah,
It's like
we're going
always
up the
Going up the
downs.
downs. It's also like, I think, I don't know if you like Fleetwood Mac, but
Oh.
yeah, landslide.
Come on
Like,
now.
I climbed a mountain and I turned around.
I
There's
took an
something-
acting class and I dressed up as Stevie Nicks
Okay.
because I
well,
love her.
This is why we did this interview, because like,
I was like, I sang Landslide and had like a blonde wig. And
No,
like,
you
dressed
did
as
it.
Stevie Nicks. I love her. And I did that song in particular because it's just one of the most beautiful songs ever
always makes me
written.
cry.
It's so, so beautiful.
It's so simple and so profound, but that line always stuck with me. Like, I think that's what we do in life. Like, we have to climb these mountains, and then
And then you see your reflection.
you turn around.
Really. No, that is one of the most beautiful songs ever.
I did not know that about you. It just
I
makes me love you all the more.
I mean, I have seen so many weird things.
Oh my God.
But this is the best. We've known each other for years
I
and we
know.
learn new things.
I mean, that's what was so beautiful about this. I feel like it just deepened and opened.
Yeah. No, it's really, really quite special. I'm very grateful to have you in my
I love you.
I love you too.
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi. Gnocchi forever.
Gnocchi.